us today during your lunch hour. We appreciate your time, but also just your time that you're going to spend judging these student projects. Just know that this competition couldn't be done without all of your help. You're kind of the backbone of how this competition works, and being this virtual reality innovation portal that these projects are being judged by you at your convenience and at your time. And then we will then have a showcase later on in June here in Stillwater to showcase all these students' projects from what you judged. And we hope that each of you will be able to attend that showcase as well, so you can kind of see. It's kind of nice to see the projects, at least the presentations that maybe you judged or maybe you didn't judge, but that are invited to the showcase. That's kind of nice. I think everyone on here is kind of aware, has either been involved with Project Lead the Way or has judged in the past. But if you haven't, this is Oklahoma statewide engineering design and development competition. EDD is the acronym, and it's the senior capstone class for the PLTW engineering program. So this competition was designed for students to go through and they go through several pre-engineering classes throughout their high school, and they end with this capstone. And then during this class, they are given a project to invent or design, and this is where this competition comes in. So we're glad to have you. Main objective is for you guys to judge the design process using this rubric system. And I know there's a lot of good project ideas, but just please keep in mind the design process is the actual judging point that you guys will be going over. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Harkleroad and Elliot Moore. I think he's on the line as well, but they work with National PLTW. They are the experts when it comes to running the innovation portal and setting up these competitions. So I'll turn it over to them, and they'll kind of explain the process and kind of what we do from this point forward.
Thank you, Brandy. First off, welcome everyone. I do kind of want to echo what Brandy just mentioned. We can't say thank you enough for taking time out of your day not only to join us for this judge training, but also to review the portfolios from the students as well. They do greatly appreciate receiving that feedback and all that, and that valuable information as well. Again, like Brandy mentioned, my name is Ryan Harkleroad. I am currently the Partnerships Manager here at Project Lead the Way, which means I kind of see day-to-day operations of current and prospect partners and kind of manage different portfolios and accounts. And then if you're wondering where I'm calling in from, I'm actually calling in from Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where our headquarters is located. And then I'm joined by Elliot. If you want to introduce yourself real quick, Elliot.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Elliot Moore, Director of Partnerships with Project Lead the Way. Been working pretty extensively with the Innovation Portal for over a year now. And a lot of my work revolves around making industry connections for our Project Lead the Way students and providing them access, more students access to Project Lead the Way programs. As part of that, we host these competitions. That's a really good opportunity for industry representatives and college representatives to get in and see what the work the students are doing. It's a really good opportunity for them to get work outside their classroom and get recognized on a state and national level for the work that they do. Thank you for joining us.
Real quick, just a couple of housekeeping rules. It looks like this is a relatively small group, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Just interrupt me while either myself or Elliot are discussing items, as well as there is a chat feature there, and this meeting is being recorded. So don't hesitate to think, oh, I got to remember everything that was mentioned or anything along those lines, because after the call, Brandy will be sending you out the recording as well as some additional documents that we'll go over with you as well. So real quick, again, welcome. We've kind of already been over that. Just kind of run down what we're going to be covering today. Like Brandy mentioned, a large majority of you have already been part of the competition before, judged in previous years, but we'll still go over that, make sure everyone understands the innovation portal, logging in, and how to get connected to the competition, and just kind of how everything works. And then we'll also go over how to access the portfolios that are assigned to you, and then more information about the rubric. Yeah.
Ryan, do you have some slides to share at this point here?
Yeah. Did you guys not see my screen?
No.
I am not, no. There we go.
Okay, there. I'm sorry about that. Yes. how to access the portfolios that are assigned to you, as well as about the rubric that you'll be using as well. There'll be some important dates that we'll be mentioning throughout the entire presentation, but I always like to bring up the judging timeframe window right away. Again, portfolios we made available to you on or before, actually on the 16th of May, and then we ask that you have all portfolios judged and reviewed by May 30th, and again, that deadline will be May 30th as well. So real quick on getting connected to the competition, I believe by now Brandy has sent out invitations to everyone that will be a judge to kind of allow them to accept that invitation. But something everyone will need to do if you are new to the Innovation Portal is go ahead and create your account. And that can be done just by visiting innovationportal.org, and there's either a register or login. If you are a returning judge and you maybe have forgot your password or username, which is understandable because it probably has been about a year since you've been logged in, there is a forgot password / username, and you can go through different steps to be able to get logged in there as well. And then when you do register, we always make sure that it's the email address that you initially gave Brandy to invite you to the Innovation Portal to this opportunity. Because if it's different, you're not going to then get connected to this opportunity, and you're just going to be out there. So we want to make sure it is the same email address that you are using universally. And then once that invitation does arrive, or if it has arrived already, you need to accept that invitation clearly. And then once you click on that link and you accept it, it'll then allow you to log in. And once it's officially accepted, you then are officially connected to the competition. And you will be able to see that in there as well. And I'll go over that a little bit later in the call, and we'll be able to reference that if maybe you don't receive the email or by chance you deleted it. A good thing is it is within that portal, so you don't need the email to actually accept the invitation or accept the opportunity. And again, if you have any issues through this process, don't hesitate to email Brandy as well. Going on, a little bit of background information around the Innovation Portal and kind of how the portfolios are created. Each student or a group of students has the ability to create a portfolio, and the best way to describe that is like a three-ring binder where students have the ability to put all their work into one central location, and they input pictures and all of that, but instead they're doing that via web. So once a student creates their account from there, they can invite their partners that will be working with them on that, as well as they can create or invite their teacher as well to view and see if there's any kind of suggestions the teacher might have for them, as well as the teacher can make sure they are progressing nicely. As well as there is the opportunity in there where students and students in groups can actually share their work with mentors and allow other individuals, business professionals, to review their work as they're going along the process and receive feedback from them as well. So always keep that in mind. And then once that portfolio is completed, they can submit that to then multiple competitions that happen. For this one, obviously, it will be the Oklahoma competition, but if there are more competitions that arise that maybe they qualify for, they can submit to that as well. And students can have multiple portfolios, so it's just not students have to have one portfolio, they can have multiple different ones. Okay, and then does anyone have any questions or anything like that that I can answer for you?
So we'll have a URL. We'll be able to get to a link to the portfolio.
Yes, when they're assigned to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is correct. So when the portfolios are assigned to the judges, you'll receive an email letting you know that they have been assigned to you, and you can either access it from there, or once you're in the Innovation Portal as well, there's a My Reviews tab, and I'll show this later when I go there. This is actually great. Moving into the next step, that will allow for you to then view your different portfolios that you need to review as well. So yes, you will be able to access them extremely easy. Okay.
Yeah,
Not seeing any questions.
If there's no further questions, what Ryan's going to go through now is just share a screen and show you exactly how you're going to be able to access them once you get assigned the portfolios. But you can't do it yet until you actually assign them. So we're just going to show you now, and then if you need to refer back to it once once you are assigned the portfolios, you'll be able to reference this or you want to jump back and show you log in and look at it.
Okay, so I will go ahead, and I have logged in to the innovation portal. I'm actually logging in under Elliot's name today because we had some other obstacles we faced this morning. So as you can see, these are the portfolios that the students are creating or have created. So they've been created by Elliot. He has shared with them. So this is kind of where the student work is taking place. But what's going to be most important to you guys is these two tabs, the My Reviews and the My Notifications. So My Notifications, all of you, if Brandon has invited you to become a judge, this is where it's going to be. So if maybe you haven't received that email or you deleted it by accident, it's going to be in this location. And you'll see something here like pending or give you some kind of indication that it has not been accepted. And then My Reviews. So My Reviews is once those portfolios have been assigned to you, this is where they're all going to lie. Some of them will show, as you can see here, there's obviously multiples because this is our training example that we do host, but you'll see all of the ones that you've reviewed, and even if you were a judge last year, you should still see your portfolios from last year as well. Now, you won't be able to change the scoring on any of them, but you still can go into them, and it even kind of gives you an idea of which ones are active or have not been successfully submitted, as well as the ones that are complete. So that kind of helps you guide you as well if you kind of maybe forget which one you initially reviewed or kind of like that. So we'll go ahead and go into one here. Give me 1 second. So all portfolios will be a little bit different. Each student or each student group puts a little bit of twist on each one. But the first page or the title page, which is outlined here, mostly will have a picture of either maybe the group that's presenting or their group name. And then from there, there's elements. So there's each element that can kind of take you to each different section. So you will not officially review the cover page, but it does give you that additional information. And then from there, you can then move on to element A, and it goes all the way to M and N as well. So one important thing that I always like to point off right off the bat is when you are reviewing these elements, it's based on that section or that piece of work. So maybe if when you're reviewing the rubric, you're like, oh, they touched upon that, but it was in a different section or a different element. You want to make sure that you only are evaluating the work within that own element. So, like I said, so when you're there, you can click here. This gives you a little bit of information, actually a great deal of information around the different elements and what is a 0, what's a 1, what's a 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they can review that, and the students have access to this as well, so they are extremely aware of kind of what's expected to receive a 5 and a 3 and a 4 as well. Another great feature that we have here as well is you can actually see an example of what a 5 score is. So if you're wondering what exactly is a 5, you can simply click on those examples, see what that is, a 3, review those examples, and that gives you a very good understanding. So when it does become time to actually, you maybe looked around the rubric a little, or looked around the portfolio. From there is when it's time to start reviewing. You want to click that panel that was down there right here. It looks a little bit like a pencil or kind of like a marker. And then one of the best ways to describe this is kind of like your clipboard for when if you were at an actual science fair, where you'd walk around and view the different projects and kind of be able to view all of that as well. And that's where this is a little bit different because this is a virtual kind of judging and training and competition. So you're not really going to see other students' work and be able to determine maybe a clear winner or other portfolios, because you're only going to see the 3 portfolios, the 3 to 5 portfolios that are actually assigned to you. So do keep that in mind, and that's why it is extremely important to review these scored examples and understand what truly is a 3 and what is a 5 to keep everyone universal and judging the same way. So again, when you come here, you are reviewing them.
Ryan, if you don't,
Go ahead.
Ryan, if you don't mind, this is Ellie. I want to touch on that point again. This rubric, you may be familiar with it. It's the EDPPSR rubric, but it's a pretty academically vetted rubric for evaluating engineering design work. There's some education researchers and currently practicing education educators, engineering educators that developed this rubric, and then there's still even ongoing research on it, on how to actually score consistently using this rubric and making sure the same work gets scored consistently. So there's at least a couple papers been written about that process, about the actual language in the rubric and how it refers back to the work that the students actually submit. So those scored element examples is the best work of those people that helped put the rubric together and then provided feedback on the EDPPSR rubric. If there was a specific piece of student work that it was an excellent example of 4 and independently a bunch of different people evaluated that as a score of 4, then they took that piece of work for that element and provided that to you as an example of what a 4 looks like with their commentary. So it's a really invaluable piece that you have as a judge to get into the minds of those judges that created the rubric to make sure that your scoring is consistent with the rubric as it was designed. Thanks, Ryan. Sorry for jumping in.
No, thank you for going into great detail on that as well. So we do ask that as you are reviewing elements, you maybe will notice right here as well that it's a 0 to a 5 score. And the best thing is it's the same difference as a 1 to 2. So it is a stair step as you're kind of reviewing, and each one should be about the same distance and kind of help you go there as well. But if there isn't any actual student work there, maybe there's an element where students forgot to submit something or was in a hurry and didn't actually put any kind of type of work there. Those type of elements or pages, you make sure you do assign those as a 0. So again, you're reviewing the work. From here, we'll give this one a 4. And one important thing that I always like to put on too as well, there is a comment section. And we do highly, highly suggest that you do actually write some type of comment there. It can be either as long or as short as you would possibly like that to be. But this gives Brandy the opportunity, if there's a close judging, let's say maybe there's 2 or 3 student projects that are within 5/10 or a couple of points of each other. She can then go back to these comments and help her maybe make that determination between first and second and third place instead of having to go through and review the entire portfolio. So that's why these notes are important, and we ask that you do this for every element as well. Write something down, maybe something they were missing in that element, something that they did really well, or anything like that. So again, I will go ahead and give this score a 4 and put a comment in here. And then from there, you just have to click on the B, and that takes you to the next one. Again, click on that to view the scores. Another thing that you can do here is you can kind of, if you're looking for the descriptions of what a 1 or 2, a 3, and a 4, and a 5 are, you can hit the question mark, and that comes out and kind of gives you kind of what a 5 is and allows you to do that, and as well as you can kind of go back and forth or move this around or close out of it. And another thing is you don't have to worry about saving. When you are saving, the system's automatically saving every second or so. So once you put work in there, it's automatically saving. You don't have to worry about hitting a save button or losing your work or anything like that. So moving here, we have the C, and then we go back to B, and then here we go again as the panel. So for this one, maybe we'll give them a 3. Again, do not forget to put your comment. And then from there, you can just continue to move down to the next one. And then your panel and just continue moving down the way. Again, we do ask that you do assign a score. Again, I've already mentioned this, but do assign at least a 0 or a 5 to all of them. So again, don't want to leave it blank. You do want to assign something. And then the last 2 for M and N, I do want to bring attention to these available as well. And in these, you actually will not see any type of student content work. This is more as a whole. or reviewing the portfolio in its entirety. This is the overall work that's been completed on that, and allows them in those different directions as well. So when reviewing those, keep in mind that for all the others, you are reviewing just on that element, but when it comes to M and N, you then review it as an entire presentation or entire group. So again, I want to do that, assign there, and make sure you put comments there as well. So when comes time to you finish reviewing the portfolio, everything's been completed. You then, from there, you can go ahead in the top right-hand corner and click Complete Review. From here will become all of your scores that you gave them. So it kind of is the best way to describe this is like the Amazon shopping cart. This is everything that you've ordered or you've placed a score on before you officially hit Submit. So reviewing that, and then as well as I understand and wish. So again, you need to click on that before you officially submit. And again, this is your last chance to make sure you have assigned a score to every category. And then from there, once you're 100% confident, just go ahead and click Complete Review. And you will notice that it will show up, and the one that we just reviewed, I believe it was the rear and collision avoidance, will then show up as complete. So it does allow you to go back in there and review the student work that you did, but you cannot change your responses or your scores. Again, it is locked in place and nothing can be changed from there either. So do keep that in mind. And then when it's time to go back to another portfolio, just simply click My Reviews.
I had another question.
Yeah.
On the very last 2 pages, you said the pages will be blank, but you want us to go ahead and include some comments there.
Correct.
Is that
but
true?
That would be, yes.
Yeah, Kevin, those
overall,
last 2 are holistic. Yeah, those last 2 elements are holistic evaluation points. And so the students cannot load any content into those 2 elements, but you still have the ability to score them. And you're going to be scoring those based on the entire portfolio as a whole. And those are the only 2 that you will be scoring the portfolio as a whole, and the only 2 that will be blank that you'll be submitting a score to that's not 0.
Okay. And I'll be able to look at the examples. Is it true that I'll be able to look at an example that will show those rubric pages and how they might be scored?
There is a scored element. There is a scored element example. So for each element, and each score in each element. Well, not absolutely every single one. They're missing for the entire rubric. So we do not provide an entire rubric as examples for those last 2 elements. And then I think there's still a few holes for some of them, but most of them are filled in. And so for element A, there'll be an example for 0, an example for 1, an example for 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there'll be 6 examples just for element A. And you move to element B, and then there's another 6 examples laid out.
Of completely different portfolios as well.
Yeah.
That makes.
We had a batch, I think, of 43 portfolios that we pulled from, and so there's a few that were missing, and you might see some repeats, but those 43 are the portfolios that establish the baseline for the scored element examples.
Okay. Did those I guess I'm trying to I'm re-asking the question. Will I see an example for the blank pages or not? And should I be worried about that?
No. Nope. You will not see scored element examples for M and N.
Okay.
Those are the holistic ones. So you won't see entire portfolios that have scored examples.
Okay.
And that's as well. I mean, you should have a really good understanding as well with those elements because you're judging that as a whole over the entire presentation. So that should give you a little bit of an idea of what to expect, and you've seen previously what it takes to be a 5 and a 4, and kind of reviewing from there as well.
So I should have a good idea by that point.
Yes. Yeah.
How to assign a score to it. So there's 2 blank pages. Were there some other pages for the final, or was there another page that didn't have scored examples?
That would be the first one, the cover page.
Okay.
And that's just basically like your first page of your 3-ring binder, which will say your project name. I think team members will be here as well. Sometimes there's a picture of the students, maybe even their teacher.
There's
Just
nothing
general information. Yeah, nothing to evaluate. Where they're located in the state.
And then there's a few instances that you might not find a scored element example. Like I can't think of an actual example, but in like K4 might not have a scored example. And so we still have a few holes just because our sample size isn't big enough to pull from, but most of them are filled out.
Most of
those
them.
PDF documents on the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good.
Wonderful. So going back again, my reviews, you'll see everything that's been reviewed. There's the one that we reviewed from there as well. And this is a good point. Does anyone else have any questions on the scoring and the rubric? Again, we do highly recommend after the call, Brandy will send you more like an example of a rubric. Actually, she will send you the rubric that will kind of help you dissect and go over it, as well as there are examples in that document as well. And I hope you understand so you're not clicking on there as well in real time as you're reviewing the portfolio.
Ryan, could you explain that even they don't have to finish one portfolio in one sitting, that they could leave it and still come back and not do the whole full complete?
Yes. Yes. So again, as I mentioned before, everything is saving every second, every couple microseconds. So you can. Maybe you only have 15 or 20 minutes during lunch to review, or you planned on having an entire hour, but all of a sudden your boss calls you and you need to complete something immediately. All you have to do is simply just either log out of the innovation portal or just leave the screen up and then come back to it at a later time or date. You do not have to do everything in one setting. Traditionally, and Elliot, correct me if I'm wrong, it takes about an hour to an hour and a half per portfolio to review. Because as you can tell, there is, I think, upwards of 12 to 15 elements to review, as well as reviewing, going back and forth between a 4 and 5, reviewing it, reading everything, can take a little bit of time. So do keep that in mind.
Yeah,
but
we
you can do it.
We survey judges afterwards to kind of tell us how much time it took to do, and what we hear is that it takes over an hour for the first one to familiarize yourself with the rubric and reading that. It's a pretty large document. But then after the first 1 or 2, it gets a bit faster than an hour, and so we say for about 3 to 5 portfolios, it's about 3 to 5 hours as an overall time commitment, and that can be all in one sitting if you want to, or spread out, and you can go portfolio to portfolio submitting them like the entire process Ryan showed you, or you can leave them all at that Amazon shopping cart point and then click submit at the very end for all of them, so you kind of get to compare them to each other.
How are you? I'm Mary.
Ryan, the other thing I wanted you that we probably should show them is how to see the competition posting online and verify that they are a judge.
What was it again? Is it African American?
Yes. So when you go through there, again, I went over my reviews and my notifications. Also under opportunities is where all the current competitions that we have available here. You'll see the Oklahoma one first because it's the next one that's actually closing, so that's why it's listed there. And then this is the current competition. So if any of you want to go through and maybe read a little bit more about the competition, the work that's being done, all of that, it will be here, as well as the prizes that are being awarded to the students. And one important thing I also want to bring up is that students have been working a large majority of the year on these projects. So this isn't something that students maybe just started or decided to start working on about a week or so ago. Within their capstone course for Project Lead the Way, they initially started on these projects when they started the class, which would have been in August, September, and they've been working on them throughout the school year. So they should be in great detail, these projects and presentations as well that you're reviewing. But when it comes time...
One question you might have is, how do I know that I'm a judge in the competition?
Yeah,
because you don't get assigned any portfolios until after the students are finished submitting. And so Ryan just showed you the competition, the Oklahoma competition. And if you notice, there's no bar up there, but he's going to show you a bar. So that competition is going to move to the pass bucket. And Ryan, if you scroll down and open up that training example competition, or the training one, scroll down a little bit. That's the competition that we were showing you. Yeah, bottom left. When you go through the process to this training example, and you see that bar on the top that says view and reviews. That means that this account is a judge for this opportunity. And so you are successfully in as a judge if you see that bar on the Oklahoma competition even right now.
So you would see reviews, just to confirm. As well as once the competition does close and opportunities, this will move to past. This competition, the 2017 Oklahoma Engineering Design Competition, will move to past. So you'll see it here. These are the four that we've ran this year. And you'll see that they are in past.
You can see the 2016 Oklahoma Engineering Design Competition. That one will disappear, and the 2017 takes place. So we'll unpublish that 2016 as soon as the 2017 moves over to the pass button. And then when you're doing the evaluation on the 2017 competition, it'll be in that pass bucket because it's already past the point that students can submit their work.
Okay. Any other questions around the innovation portal or anything along those lines? Okay, so from here, again, after the call, we'll send you kind of a PDF. Brandy will send you a PDF of a step-by-step guide for judges, as well as the rubric and reflective questions from the portal as well. So that kind of helps you understand what is a 5, what is a 4, what's a 3 with student examples. And a lot of people like to review that before, just to give them a little bit of a heads up and start reviewing that, because it can be a lot to take in at one time. Another thing, we haven't had any issues with this year. We always do want to make sure that your browser is the most up-to-date. If you maybe have an old browser, make sure you do update that. And we have found that the two best browsers to use with the Innovation Portal are Google Chrome and Firefox, and preferably it is Google Chrome. That is kind of the friendliest when it comes to Innovation Portal, but feel free to use Firefox as well. To be honest, we do not have, there is a lot of kind of kinks if you use Internet Explorer or any type of other browser. So do ensure that you are either using Google Chrome and Firefox.
Yeah, and our developers tell us that Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge, both those browsers may look like it's working, but you may find things that are broken. Just because when you design Innovation Portal, it's not compatible with those browsers. So we suggest using Chrome or Firefox.
As well, we've gone over on how to ensure that you are successfully connected to the competition. And one thing that is important, we mentioned how that judging window is May 16th to the 30th. Make sure, because Brandy won't be able to assign student work until everyone is successfully connected to the competition as a judge. So do everyone shoot to have all that completed by the 15th. So then that allows for Brandy to spend time on the 16th assigning those out and getting everything to you by the 30th. Again, there's that date, May 30th. Do ensure everything is completed by May 30th. If you're unable, something comes up, maybe you need to travel or a family emergency happens, you're not going to be able to make that May 30th deadline, please do reach out to Brandy, and she'll be able from there to assign judges other portfolios or kind of come up with a game plan. So we do want to make sure every student portfolio is reviewed as well. So that's it. Brandy, do you want to make any closing remarks or anything along those lines?
Yeah, just to kind of reiterate kind of what Ryan and Elliot said, I will be kind of finalizing everyone in the system. So everyone should have received an invite already. So if you have any issues with that, let me know. And so we can definitely get you in the system. We'll have another training on Monday. So we'll be finalizing that training, and then we'll, as they said, we'll be submitting on Tuesday, May 16th. So kind of a little bit of a run through there. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to contact me and let me know. If I don't know the answer, I will let Ryan and Elliot help us out with if it's like specific innovation portal issues that I'm not aware of or I can't get to. But for the most part, this is the third year we've hosted this. And so I'm pretty familiar with the program and I can help you to a certain extent. So please feel free to contact me anytime. I do want everyone to know that we will be figuring the top teams, and we allow the top 5 teams to actually present live at our showcase here in Stillwater, which this year will be at June 17th. And it'll be at the Wes Watkins Center. So we do invite everyone to come. But we also invite several other teams to come and showcase their projects if they met a certain Rubik score. So depending on how you guys score it, on an average, it'll depend if they are invited or not to the showcase. So please take your job seriously in the fact that making sure that each student is judged appropriately and fairly. At that point, we hope to have everything together, and we hope that we are able to have you there at the showcase so that we can introduce you, not so much as individuals, but just so that you guys are aware that you guys are so appreciated in your time that you put into this project. With that, I think I am done as far as closing, but I appreciate all of you joining us.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And Elliot and myself will stay on the line for a couple of minutes. If anyone has any additional questions, we're more than happy to answer those for you. Or if you're having issues getting connected to the Innovation Portal, we can help you with that as well. Thank you.
I had a question on the date of, now I can't, when can I completely go in and be signed up? It'd be on the 15th or the 16th?
You can go ahead and get connected to the competition now.
Okay.
You just won't have, you won't be able
you
to
won't
see
have
student work
Right.
until it's assigned out to you.
So have you received an invitation yet from Brandy inviting you to an opportunity to become a judge?
Okay, let me look. And I was going to look in the...
Just what is your name so we can look as well?
Kevin Dries. I got the email from...
I believe I did send that or put him in there to have him invited.
Please, my...
Ryan can check on this. I think he's...
Yeah, I'm logging in right now. I got to log out of Elliot's. I got to log out of the training example and get into our account. So just give me 1 second here.
Yeah, I've got the training links. Well, I've got the training links, but in the meeting or in the session we just had, you tell us to go into innovationportal.org and create the account.
Correct. So have you created your account yet?
That's what I need to do now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'll be good until the 16th, I guess. And then...
Actually, once you create your account, Kevin, then you'll go down where he showed where notifications was. If you'll click on that, you'll see that you see if your status is